evening, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Picnic Table Chat Show. This is episode 1 of season 6, and as you can see, we've got our new ant colony in front of us. You might hear a bit of that. These are Acromyrmex I got it right the other day. Optispineus. Acromyrmex octospineus, something like that. Leafcutter ants, how amazing. We'll get to them in just a second. Just want to say massive welcome to everyone watching on all the different channels and listening on podcasts now and in the future. Massive welcome and thank you for joining. So on with the show, let's crack on. Leafcutter ants, absolutely spectacular. So I got the ants from Day3. It's an awesome colony, as has already been pointed out. I cannot take credit for this colony yet. Day3 has done all the hard work caring for them whilst the setup was being made. We'll get to the setup in just a second. Absolutely amazing colony. If you don't know, Leafcutters, one of the dream species, I think most people, if you're an ant keeper, you want these, or you want atters, you want Leafcutters in one way or another. Obviously, I'm going to talk a little bit about them. If you don't know them, they live on the ball of fungus. That is their nest. It's a little bit different to other ant colonies. In the wild, they would keep this deep underground. And to be honest, I shouldn't really have the lights on it. There is no lights facing it directly. The light is over the outworld section. Hey, Ants England, thanks for joining. The light is over the outworld section, not the fungus section, and I've only got it on for this stream. I'll turn it off again afterwards. Let's say, so all the credit to Day3 for making such an awesome colony. Like I say, I can't take credit for it yet because it's only been in my care for a couple of days. Loads of fungus. They came in 2 pots and 2 test tubes. If you checked out the video, you already know this. I'm going to be doing thank you very much, Ants England. That's kind of you. Yeah, I'm super excited about them. Obviously, I think it'll be stupid not. You know what I mean? Obviously. So the setup we got from Ant Boy UK. He made it custom made for us. It says Acromyrmex octospineus. I keep getting it wrong, but I'm getting it right. You know what I mean. He put the name on the side, and it's beautiful, and it's got the Bluetooth sensor technology, which I've never used before, but is actually like really cool to watch. I sit there just watching it, just watching it. So recommendations for this colony is not to actually have them with accessibility to the outworlds at this section. I've only opened up this outworld section about half an hour before the stream, and it wasn't just for the stream. Actually, they've been pulling at the cotton for the last few days, and well, 1 or 2 of them managed to tunnel through it a couple of times, and I've put them back into the main thing. But they've pulled off so much they pulled off so much cotton that it's surrounding the fungus in the fungus chamber. It is everywhere. There's just cotton everywhere. So I thought if I open up the outworld, I checked it with a couple of people. Open up the outworld, they'll probably start moving the trash out and getting rid of it and clearing out the fungus chamber, which by the looks of it, if you look at what they are actually doing, they're taking stuff out into that chamber. They're doing exactly what I was told they do. They're removing that trash, making the fungus chamber nice and clear. And I was told once it's clear, there won't be much activity left in that chamber. We can probably block it up again after a day or so of them removing that cotton trash, which will be really good. And you know what I mean? It just makes it nice and clear. I don't want lots of rubbish building up around the fungus because the fungus is so sensitive. If water touches it, if the humidity and temperature, everything, it just has to be so right. I don't want lots of mess that can sort of mess with it. You know what I mean? So I thought if I do this, they can't really go wrong. I'm not feeding them in that outworld. So once they've got rid of the trash, they've got no reason to go back in it, really. Although there might be some stragglers, but there won't be that same sort of mass that there is now, hopefully. We'll see how it goes, but I'm glad that they're removing the trash at least, because that, like I say, it just puts my mind at ease that this fungus isn't going to start deteriorating before my very eyes. I've only had them a few days, and that would be an absolute nightmare. They have started taking their first fresh leaves. As you can see, I've got some blackberry leaves there. They have been taking it quite readily, but they are really enjoying the rose petals as well. You can see the lights have just turned off, so I haven't changed the timers for daylight savings. That's funny. I better do that at some point. But yeah, so you can see the one on the side right now. They did have a massive pile of rose petals that I gave them on the I gave them a medium-sized pile on the first day, and they kind of moved it all literally overnight. It was gone, so I gave them another pile, and they moved all of that to the side here, but they covered a lot of it with the fluff. So now they're uncovering the fluff, or uncovering the leaves from the fluff, and you can see they're starting to pick up the leaves again and move them about and use them. I highly doubt they're going to move that into the outworld section with the trash. They're probably going to move it straight onto the fungus. I have been watching them almost relentlessly, to the point where I actually have 10 hours of footage from day 1 and day 2. I tried uploading it as 10 hours. It took more than 10 hours to get to like 30%. We'll say that. So I gave up. I've now sped it up to like 20 times the speed to make 10 hours of footage like half an hour. And then I'm going to upload that. And it's going to be an attachment in the top corner of the other video. And it would just be there if you want to watch what happened for the first day or two. And obviously this is day 3. I'm probably going to do some more filming day 4. I'm probably going to film them every day. If I'm not live, I'm going to do some filming. I might even do some random lives during the day. I will be on Twitch during the day as well, just randomly streaming them. Yeah. So lots of updates, lots of shorts, and I just love filming. I cannot stop watching them, as you can imagine. In fact, I've set up the camera full time, obviously, so it can film and whatnot. But I can watch it on my computer screen whilst I'm doing other work. So it's just there in the little bottom corner, and it's so cool. And yeah, like I say, I haven't really taken my eyes off them. So let's say Ant Boy UK made this setup. It consists of 3 pods. You can see 2. The fungus chamber is slightly smaller than the outworld chambers. It's got the humidity section at the bottom that you sort of inject the water into. It's got a sloped roof so that the water droplets don't fall directly onto the fungus. They can sort of run down the back, which is really handy and good idea. But I actually haven't had any kind of major buildup of humidity yet. There has been a little few droplets, and it is at 99% humidity, don't get me wrong, but it's got some good airflow, I suppose. And yeah, it's not been an issue with like humidity build up yet, but there is humidity there. And then, like I say, the outworld sections are just large pods. The rims do come off and the lids do come off. I haven't even used a barrier on this one, the pod section that I've opened up, because I'm expecting them all to go back in once they've cleared that trash. And I say I'm going to block it back up. And any which do decide to jump on my hand and start biting me, that just saves me getting them out of the outworld by hand, I suppose. So I just put them straight back into the fungus section. I have been bitten by them. Getting them into the pod was a bit of a nightmare, because they're in the pots. You sort of, the second you open those pots, they are on you, and they were biting me. And I was wearing gloves. They were biting through the gloves, but luckily the gloves are quite loose. Now I went for loose gloves on purpose, for the fact that they're not going to bite straight onto the skin with tight gloves. It worked quite well. They were biting the little flappy bits and whatnot, but they did start on as I am excited, Anthony. They say I was waiting and waiting. Royal Mail have been a nightmare. So we were expecting them like a week or 2 ago, and then Royal Mail, like obviously with their strikes, it was just like, can't send them this day, can't send that day, and then it was like, just gotta keep waiting, so yeah, it was a nightmare. How old is the colony? Now that is a question I don't actually know, to be honest. It's not something I asked. Good question. I will ask him. I'm sure he will know. And Davey is pretty knowledgeable about things like this. I'll have to say, he's been absolutely amazing. I have come up with loads of questions, done things and everything, but he waits for you to get the setup, wait for it to be set up and correct humidity and stable and everything, and then he'll send the ants. So he was really good about that safeguarding aspect, if you want to call it that, making sure that I will ask. I'll send him a message later on. I'll have that information by the next stream. I shall try. But yeah, he's been absolutely fantastic, making sure that the ants are going to be fine. I know what I'm doing. All my queries and sort of worries are answered, and sort of I've got a good handle on what to do. And he is there if I start worrying. We won't go into that, Ants England. We just won't. Moving on. So yeah, filming has been interesting because they're in curves. Now this is a really good sort of angle, but generally I've been getting like loads of reflections filming, but I have been filming like almost non-stop. What was the condition wise? They say you have to keep it around 25 degrees in the fungus chamber and as close to 99% humidity as you can get. Yes, I was going to get into that in a second. So it does take a bit of, so you have to like keep it stable at those temperatures as well. It can't be too fluctuating. So I've got a probe which is sat behind, you can see it just sat behind the heat cables there. The heat cables obviously turn on and off depending on the temperature within. I've got it stable at about 25.1 degrees and 99% humidity as we need. So hopefully with everything going well, everything should go well. We will be taking these to the exhibitions and things like that. I've already taken in advice on how to move them and so on and so forth. We're actually getting like a thing built specifically for the Leafcutters to move about on. They will never be taken off of this thing. It will turn into like their platform when they're at the events and so on. So it will be like it will be a much easier job to move. We won't ever have to like move the pods as such. They'll just be there, stuck to it. So that's the plan with that. But obviously, like I said, I'm going to be doing loads of updates and whatnot with this colony. I absolutely love them, but hats off to Ants Day3 for providing such a brilliant colony, and hats off to Ant Boy UK for making an awesome setup. Oh, okay. Ants England, I can honestly say I didn't get any kind of discount or freebie or anything. These were paid at full price. I think they come out at about £180, roughly. And then the setup's a fair bit as well. But like I say, we won't go massively into it. I'm not too worried about numbers. But I definitely didn't get any kind of sponsorship deal on this. But I am gonna be, what's the word, kind of showcasing it for Ant Boy UK and Ants Day3 at the events, if you know what I mean. Does that make sense? I suppose it makes sense. Anyways, let's move on. Yeah, okay, let's move on. So what else is new in the ant corner? I would move to Canva, but you'd probably all go nuts. We've got new scorpions, new millipedes, new roaches, new all sorts of stuff, and they're really cool. So I've got a golden scorpion, golden Israeli scorpion. They come from Israel. I just said that. But what I mean is yes, they are. Thank you. What I mean is they live in the sand, so they're different to the Asian forest scorpion, which we've also got another Asian forest scorpion now, because I did find out my other had passed away. Now this one's a lot smaller, a lot younger, and got a lot more molts to go. Both my scorpions come from the perfectly imperfect range in Venomous Visions. Now Venomous Visions have this little range. It is perfectly imperfect for a reason. They're still absolutely fine and healthy, but they do have slight ailments. So my black forest scorpion has his bottom left side claw bit missing, but he's still absolutely fine. I seen him hunting the waxworm yesterday, and he smashed it in with his right hand, and it wasn't an issue. And then my golden Israeli scorpion is missing his entire left claw. Again, he ate a waxworm yesterday. He grabbed it in his claw and pretty much ate it alive. Wasn't an issue at all. He lives in a little hole, which is really nice. So when I made his setup, I knew that they like to burrow quite deep generally in sand. These ones, they can really deep actually. So I gave them quite a lot of sand in one area, like it slopes up, you know what I mean? So one area is deeper than the other, and I poked a big old hole in there, and I kind of thought, hopefully that might be right. And I looked in this morning and it's there using the hole. Yesterday morning, sorry, and it was there using the hole. So that's really cool. It's been out and into the hole, and it ate in the hole, and it's been really cool. So I'm enjoying having those two scorpions. And like I say, there's nothing wrong with them. After a couple of molts, they might even get their claws back. So it's not an issue at all. And I think they're cool. Yeah. So my millipede that I got a giant chocolate millipede. Now, I love this thing. It's massive. It's like a bloody train. I have had giants before, obviously. I have held giants, but he was really cool. And I say was. Now, what's happened? He hasn't died because I can't find the body. But going through his enclosure today, now bear in mind he has got a hole at the top of the enclosure. I never thought he would escape through it. I thought it would be fine. I should have blocked it up. Also, what ones? They are mealworms. Just following up that question, they are mealworms. So yeah, he seems to have got out probably during the night, out through this hole, which is his air hole. But it looks like he would have climbed down onto the floor, and I have no idea where he is. He's not. I sieved through the entire enclosure 3 times. I got out every single, like every bit of substrate, every bit of wood, moss, everything. Laid it all out on this massive board that I've got. Nothing. He is not in there. Yeah, famous last words. I thought it would be fine. I know. Honestly, it's the same enclosure as my other millipedes live in. So they've been in there ages, and they're absolutely fine. They've never even had an inclination to go out of this hole. Him on his, like, I say him because I'm pretty sure it was a him, on his like first or second night here, he's out, gone. I'm glad I looked for him today because I do my general checks on him. But yeah, so we've had a little look. Yeah, we've checked a little bit, right? So he could be literally anywhere. The door to this with the ground, it's got like quite a large gap, so he could get out that way. But I fully expect that what he's done is he's gone straight across here and gone under the bed where there's lots and lots of stuff stored. Bit of a nightmare. What I am going to do is the same thing I did when the crickets got out and hid under the bed. Is I'm going to put a couple of bits of food scattered about the room at night. I'm going to stay up really super late in the dark and just wait and see what happens. They've got a brilliant sense of smell. If I do, some vegetables and some meat in a couple of places either side of me, I'm basically in the middle of the room. Dawn knows. Yeah, they do love to climb. But I'm pretty sure he's going to be hiding under the bed. If he had climbed, honestly, I'd be able to find him by now. I know. My wife doesn't mind too much. Baz, it's a giant chocolate millipede. He is quite large. He's probably about 6 to 8 inches long, about an inch or two thick. He's a big boy. Yeah, so if he's gone up, literally, I would have found him by now because there's no kind of hidey holes up, especially where he was. And in fact, I've done a bit of a rearrange today. I'll tell you about that in a bit. And I would have found him. The only way he could have gone is down. We've cleared off all the bottom shelves. He's not hiding on any of them. He has to have gone for a wander. Now, tracing around, I've moved stuff in the localized area. He won't have been able to get down behind a lot of the furniture because it's so tightly packed together. Pretty much only one place he could be. And I mean, it could be somewhere else, but I'm pretty sure he's going to be under the bed. I'll get in there with the like. I'll lift the bed, and the missus will slowly start removing items, something like that. We'll work it out, but I'm pretty sure I'll be able to bait him out during the night. Exactly, some cucumber or like I'll put out some cucumber. I'll put out a few cut up waxworms and stuff like that because they love their protein as well. And I'm sure he'll come out. You know, it might take a day or two, but I've got patience. And to be honest, this is my office anyway, so I'm sat here. If he comes out, I'll find him. I am really kind of disheartened and worried, but I'm pretty like they're pretty hardy as well. You know, he has just eaten because the food is like all gone, loads of it's gone. Um, so he has just eaten before he's ran off. Yeah, the only thing I'm slightly concerned about is the humidity in um oh, that kind of sucks. None's been out, but I'm sure they will. I'm sure they will. We'll talk about that in a second. Um, Katrina, hide some more stuff. Yeah, okay, good idea. I could make like a little bioactive setup on the floor and see if he comes to it during the night. That's a really good idea, Katrina. I will do that, and we'll lace it with food. Um, and yeah, like I said, I am disheartened because I really liked this millipede as well. Um, he was beautiful, and again, he came from the perfectly imperfect range. I'm not even sure what was wrong with him. I think he might have been missing some legs or something, but it's quite hard to tell when a millipede's missing legs. To be honest, he looked fine. He was beautiful, and yeah, I just hope I find him and he's still alive. Like I say, the humidity in the room is actually generally quite high because of all the tanks, and we have 42 enclosures in use in this room at the moment. I counted them the other day, and I've got like one, two, three, four. I've got 6 enclosures which aren't being used as well. So quite a few. So it's quite humid in here and quite warm. So we should generally just be all right in that. He will need water at some point. Generally, they get their water from their food and their substrate. But obviously, if he's not eating or cooling around dirt, then that will be an issue. We'll build that bioactive setup and we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I'm hoping it will be enough. He has enough space. Could you imagine if they had to buy shoes? That's just, I don't know. They have more legs than a centipede, but they don't actually have a million legs. I'm just going to say that now. Even though they're a millipede, they don't have a million legs. Anyways, so yeah, moving on from that, it is a massive kick. It is a massive kick, but it is what it is. Moving on to that, we will talk about the strawberry thing. The strawberry thing is the strawberry sugars. You've also got the mixed berry sugars as well. I'm super proud of those sugars. They've taken a little while to get developed and get the mix right. So I'm happy. Lots of back and forth, and then obviously we've gone through the testing phase as well. Um, Pretty much everyone's given me great feedback. I haven't had any bad feedback. Pretty much everyone's given me great feedback. Um, I saying that because some people just haven't given me any feedback. What about Spy? Oh, okay, I'm just trying to follow the chat as well. Good evening, MHD Adventure. Good morning. Oh, good morning. You're from Indonesia. Wow, good morning, Indonesia. That's pretty awesome. What's it like over there? Tell us about what you've been up to and what it's like. That's pretty insane. So sorry, I just got to jump on now. I don't often speak to people in Indonesia. So yeah, the ant sugars, they've been under development for a while. My ants absolutely love them. In fact, my bullet ants, when I put some on the tin foil for them, they'll take it all and drink it all and whatever, and then they start going nuts at the tinfoil because there's none left, which is quite interesting to see. Leaf cutters, they don't really need carbohydrates. You can give them carbohydrates on the odd occasion, but you really don't need to. They get pretty much everything they need from those leaves. including water. They get their water from the leaves as well. So, like you said, it's actually a breath of fresh air from keeping the Polyrhacus dives, which are like thousands in the numbers, are putting their food in, and they're jumping on my hands and biting me and stinging me and spraying acid all over the place. And these are quite easy. You just put in the leaves, and then you'll have to get out the rubbish later on. Can you give me jacket? I'm not sure what that means. Give you jacket. I'm not sure what that means, I'm afraid. My aunt's really like it. Yeah, thank you, Dean. Yeah, I mean, I can admit that ants, yeah, and the Lasius niger absolutely love waxworms. You've got Lasius niger, haven't you? Now, honestly, they will come out for those sugars. Your colony's still quite small from what I remember. It is growing, and it's at a decent size, but it is still quite small. But they will come out and try those sugars. My Lasius niger have been thoroughly enjoying the sugars so far. Obviously, they are on the website for, I think it's £3.50 for the small bottle, but that is with the postage included as well. I've tried to keep it as cheap as possible. And to be honest, I was quite just happy when I saw them turn up with labels on, because I had all these testers and they didn't have labels on. And then the actual bottles turn up with labels on. I was like, oh, they look really cool. Really cool. Love sugars, but I'm not so fussy with. Yeah, okay. So yes, it is. It was developed in Weymouth College laboratories, and there's a few people been involved, but it is all tested and proofed and stuff like that. But what I was going to say is I like using honey, but I find honey can be a little bit, what's the word, finicky? A little bit of a pain in the butt sometimes. The fact they're so gloopy. So using these sugars, I just find is a lot easier. I've always sort of bought loads of them just because it's easy. I don't have to do much. Yeah, if you want to join the live, send me an email on the website and we will sort out a date. That's are better pets than mice, so Trable. Yeah, right. So I yes, I am. Yes, we'll talk about that later as well, about the Weymouth show. Right, so rats. I had a pet rat when I was young. He was called Rizzo, and I absolutely loved him. I come home from school one day, and my mum was just like, "You've got a pet rat." Like, oh, thanks, mum. Like I never wanted a pet rat before, but thanks, mum. Okay, so I had a pet rat, and I had him for ages, and I called him Rizzo, and we put him through mazes, and he was pretty awesome. I used to carry him about in the pocket of my hoodie. And then one day I've come home from school and mum was like, we had to put the rat down. He broke his back. Now, I'm not sure if I 100% believed that. Goodbye, Dawn. Thanks for coming in. Yeah, I'm not sure if I've ever 100% believed that he broke his back, because rats are pretty flexible and they're pretty good climbers as well. I don't know. But yeah, so that was the end of my rat. It was a real shame. I really liked having a rat. It was a bit weird having a tail to start with, but once you get used to the tail, it's not much different to a hamster. A little bit smarter, if anything, really adaptable as well. Like, you can take them out in your hoodie, you can, like, do stuff with them, you know what I mean? You don't have to just leave them in the setup. See, now when I was young, I did have the standard kind of rat cage, but if I was to do it now, I think I'd go for a much larger kind of tank setup, a bit more natural. I did a little bit of research into hamsters and things like that, and it turns out like hamsters need a lot of space. Loads. I kind of feel bad for how I kept my hamster as a kid. I know it is the normal thing to do, keeping them in a small cage and whatnot. But okay, fair enough. But you know what I mean? The hamsters, I don't know, just they need a lot of space, and yeah, Yeah, but so okay, more clumsy. He was a male. It was a male. I don't know. He was. I don't know. It was just the fact I never saw any evidence of it, and from day one, my mum never really liked having of that. Like, why did you buy me a pet that you didn't even like? I don't know. So what else is going on and new in the ant corner? A few of you might have seen. Most of you wouldn't have seen. I've got a new hoodie. These hoodies will eventually be getting sold and stuff. But it's a new Ants on the Rock hoodie. So that's really cool. It's actually really nice and fluffy. I was wearing it a minute ago, but I got too hot in this room as I normally do. I've had to take it off. But it's really nice. It's cool. It's grey, fluffy insides. Sporting the Ants on the Rock logo, obviously. Um, yeah, that's my new hoodie. So they'll be coming onto the shop at some point when I'm really happy with the design. I want to change one or two aspects of it, but I'm really happy. You want one? Yeah, I expect you will. No, honestly, I like it, and I like the fact there's zip up. You know what I mean? I don't really get on well with the other hoodies. If I'm getting a hoodie, it has to be a zip up hoodie. Um, that's just where I am. I'm really fussy about what I wear. Believe it or not, I'm not fussy about much, but I'm quite fussy about what I wear actually. It's either a full suit, because I used to wear a suit all the time. I'm quite comfortable in a suit. Vest, tracksuit, and a hoodie, because that's sort of like my gym wear. I wore that for years. Or it's pretty much my ants on the rock stuff now. Yeah, it is a hoodie. We could definitely do jumpers as well. I think we have looked into quite a few different things, but I went with hoodie because it's my personal preference. So we need to, yeah, no sleeves. I really cannot deal with sleeves. That's the thing, right? So I it's so hard to explain. I started wearing um, vests when I was like 7, and I've never looked back. Honestly, I cannot get on with sleeves. I don't see the point in them. If your arms are cold, wear a jumper or something. I don't know. Like, I spend most of my time, like 90% of my time, I don't even wear a top. Like, I don't even have a shirt on or anything. I spent so long lifting weights that it's like natural for me to just walk around topless most of the time. Even in winter, I'll be in shorts and topless, quite honestly. Not generally outside. I'm not stupid, but at home, you know. So wearing a vest is like, oh, if I have to. I don't know if that's quite like the way it is, but yeah, I just don't really get on with sleeves. I don't see a point in them. Oh dear. So oh like so his yeah, it is possibly because of my autism. Um I've got some weird little things like that. One other weird thing about me, here's something which is to do with my autism, which really funny, and it's only really taken, like, I've noticed it again lately. I've always sort of done it, but I've noticed it again lately because it annoyed me the other day. And if I turn round one way, I have to turn back. Like, I can't turn round. Like, if I get up off my chair and turn left, when I sit down, I have to turn the same way to be in the same orientation. I can't turn round to sit. It's one of them things. But I will say, if I didn't have my autism, I wouldn't be able to tackle some of the things I tackle. So it's not an issue for me at all. Right. So something really cool that I want to go into, something super cool. And no one on this stream right now, I don't know, can really help me on the subject. But if you can't, I don't know. So we are like 3 or 4 subscribers away from 666 on Halloween. Like, Halloween's tomorrow, isn't it? Is it Monday? No, it's tomorrow. I don't know. Tomorrow, right? So, yeah, thank you. Okay. Halloween is tomorrow, and we are so close to having 666 subscribers. It's kind of hilarious. If we can get to that, I will be super happy. I don't know what I'll do, but I'll probably do something. I don't know. You know what I'm like. Um, Um, I'll read that in a second. So yeah, I thought that would be like so it's pretty. Yeah, thank you, Anthony. I worked that out. That my you know what it gets like. Is it Wednesday? Is it Sunday? I don't know. We're streaming tonight. But yeah, so I thought that'd be pretty cool if we can get the 666 on Halloween. That'd be like, oh no, it's not really spooky or nothing, but it's pretty cool. The Queen has made an impressive batch of lava. Oh, that's brilliant to hear. Um, she was doing really well actually, from what I remember. You're gonna have quite a good by this time next year. Like next year, put them into hibernation definitely. But by that time, you'll have a brilliant colony. Order 66. Don't say Order 66 online. You never know who's gonna like have their chip switched on. I don't know. You're not supposed to say certain things to Siri, are you? Like, hey Google, um, wipe all my data or something like that. You're not supposed to say that online. So I just done it for fun, because people's like stuff reacts. I don't know, but I don't know if we can get in trouble for saying Order 66, execute Order 66. Does anyone go nuts from that? Let me know. Um, get Go get a 666 ant tattoo. All right, if I get the 666 subscribers on Halloween, I will possibly. I'm not saying yes because I will have to run that past the wife. Although I did tell her the other day I'm getting another tattoo soon because my mate round the corner is a really good tattooist. He's got a shop and whatnot. Don't worry about that. But I'm dying to let him tattoo me because he's been a good mate of mine for many years. Um, no clue about. Okay, so I have no clue how to do that. But okay, right. So I'm gonna move on away from the 666 number sub whatever. Okay. So like, yeah, everyone said that my wife's gonna hate me about the millipede girl missing, right? So I made a stupid mistake. Oh look, that ant's just taken a massive chunk of leaf. If you can see it as well as I can in the bottom of the fungus chamber, on top of the green leaves there, one of them's just taken a massive chunk of green leaf. By the looks of it, they are still taking a lot of the trash out of the fungus chamber, which is good. Um, but that big bit of leaf, cool. Do a tattoo with an ant with a pumpkin on it. Okay, we're getting a little bit. I don't know. I think we're going to maybe. No. If I can think of a way to make that work, I will. I will. Right. So right. Here we go. The other thing I have lost. It's a lot worse than a millipede. On Wednesday, was it Wednesday? Yeah, on Wednesday when I did my live stream, I had a box of waxworms that I pulled. I was sat at my desk. I pulled out 50 waxworms into a separate box, which I then went and poured some hot water in the kitchen. Emptied out the hot water, brought it back, emptied out the waxworms onto tinfoil, and began to slice them up. In which time, I put down the box of waxworms with no lid on it, and I can't find them anywhere. So we've got about a week, and we're going to have moths flying around somewhere. So right now, yeah, happy Halloween. So right now, oh, there's that big bit of leaf going about. Oh, awesome. So yeah, wife probably not going to be happy about that one. We have looked everywhere, can't find it. Can't find it anywhere. There's a box of waxworm somewhere. Um, I'd be bojiggered if I can find them. And that is a real word, bojiggered. I'm pretty sure. Bojiggery, bojiggerin, bojiggered. Real word. Um, so yeah, whoops. Anyways, I've decided to move a few of my colonies lately. We've got a 2 queen colony of Mimica. Well, my I've got a 2 queen colony of Rubina that are on the shop, and Well, to be honest, they're just really active. Every time I go to feed them, they come running out because obviously they're semi-claustral. They have got a nice batch of eggs in there, so I've decided to attach them to a small little outworld just so that they can come and eat whenever they want, really. I've just looked. I haven't even put a lid on it. I literally done this like an hour ago. I haven't even put a lid on the outworld. What a fool I am. I can see the lid, and it's not an issue because they are literally just in the test tube at the moment. Um, but whoops, I'll do that now. Ta-da! Um, right, there we go. If you put hot water in them, how are they? Right, so I only put hot water on the ones I separated, not the ones in the pot that I've lost. Um, what was I saying? Right, so yeah, the rubida are in there. So I have like 3 colonies of Mesostrata that I've been feeding in small outworlds. One of them in a Wakushi. Which one's that? The small thing with 3 test tubes. I can't remember which one it is. I want to say Venus. I've got that one, anyways. They've done really well in that, but I'm starting to now struggle with feeding them. They just come pouring out every time I open the top. So I've put them into a big outworld. They can do a tubs and tubes situation because they are living completely like not completely filled, but there's a lot of ants in 2 of the test tubes out of the 3. The third hole was actually blocked, so they're doing really well. I've moved both of the test tubes into the outworld and chucked in a load of seeds. There's well over 50 workers, I'd say. There's majors as well. They're doing really well. And then I had the 2 other colonies. I've moved one of them. I still need to move the other one still. They were using the like small box outworld sort of things. You oh, I hit what have I? I'll have a look in a minute. Yeah, they were using like those small box outworld things, the starter, so I've put them into a different sort of starter setup, just which gives me more space for feeding and handling them. I say handling them, but you know what I mean, dealing with and cleaning, because they again are probably around 40 or 50 workers. They've got loads of water in their test tubes, so I'm not concerned about that because it's not a sort of situation where I can add another test tube easily. I can add more water through a water test tube, but I'm sure they'll be fine. So we've got like, hey, All Ants UK, we've got quite a few things I'm moving about at the minute. Just like I say, swapping about. I've got a few empty nests and outworlds and stuff at the moment, so why not give the growing colonies a bit of an expansion, And I can put some more colonies into those ones and keep the chain going. I can't help myself sometimes. I've got some awesome ant species. I just like to see them rather than test tube feeding them, to be honest. So I'm just going to go through my list because you know what I'm like. I always have a list of things in front of me, which I'm going to talk about. So I'm just making sure I'm getting everything. Yeah, it looks like I'm getting everything. Cool. How much workers ants are in this colony? In this one in front of me, probably around 200 to 300 workers, and just one queen. But yeah, it's over 200, so 200 to 300, I'd say. And like I say, they're doing really well. They're doing really strong. They've got a nice amount of fungus there, and I've already started to see some new growth on the fungus, which is really nice. But it will be a lot better when they move all of that cotton and debris out into that outworld section, which they're doing quite efficiently. Obviously, they're ants, but you can see like they're taking some quite significant chunks of fluff out. And building it up into a piles into the outworld. That's absolutely fine. That's completely what we wanted to do. The queen, honestly, I think they are quite large, but they're not as large as the Atom Mexicana queens or whatever. But yes, I haven't actually seen her myself, so I couldn't tell you how big she is. I think they are quite large. I've seen pictures, but I always kind of wait to see it in the flesh myself, you know what I mean? To really gauge it, like 14 millimeters means very little to me. Do they need a water test tube, or do they get moisture from the fungus? Yeah, so I'm not sure if they get their moisture from the fungus or the leaves, but like whilst they're chewing the leaves. But yes, they get their water in that process of leaf to fungus sort of situation. You don't need to put in a separate water source, from what I've been told. You also don't need to feed them carbohydrates or proteins. You can, and on occasion they will take them, but it's more of a treat rather than a they need carbohydrates sort of thing. They pretty much just survive completely on leaves. It's really cool, really interesting. I'm thoroughly enjoying having them. I can't wait to take them to shows and stuff. So, little update on the shows. We have put a small update on the website to do with the Sheffield show. A few of the vendors are listed of who's coming. I think I put one, maybe two of the lecturers' names down that are going to be giving lectures, so on and so forth. Basically, a little bit of the detail of what's going to be happening on the day. It's definitely worth releasing a little bit of detail every now and then, isn't it? But you won't get it all out of me until much closer to the date. But yes, so you are more than welcome to check that out at any time. And then on top of that, one of the last things we're actually going to cover on my list is I'm going to talk a little bit about the Weymouth show. I'm going to say a massive thank you to my sponsors of the Weymouth show, which have all been completely confirmed now. We have Wayline Taxis giving us a really awesome sponsorship for the Weymouth show. Now, I can't thank them enough for what they're doing. They've offered to help with all sorts of things, and to be honest, it's quite amazing. By Lacius Flavus, give me a message. I've got some great Lacius Flavus actually. I'm 13. If you're 13, buy the under 13s, buddy. It's not an issue. I think that's fair and counts, you know what I mean? I would say the same to anyone else who's 13. Get the under 13. Yeah, do that one. Excuse me. The Weymouth show, yeah, massive thank you to Wayline Taxis. Like I say, they're doing loads to help with the show, so a massive shout out to them. And then I want to give a massive shout out to Valhalla Martial Arts. They're sponsoring the show. Miles Dark Building and Plastering, also sponsoring the show, and Carpet Fresh of Portland, they're also sponsoring the show as well. They're all Weymouth show sponsors. Obviously, this show in Weymouth isn't just for ants, it is a showcase of everything that's going on in my local area. We've got, a massive shout out to Bournemouth University for supplying many, many lecturers and awesome events that are going to be happening at the Weymouth event. So a massive shout out to Bournemouth University for being so supportive of the show and actually really helpful with splits as well. It's going to be a great show. Loads of really cool exhibits there. Some really cool stuff that's going to be shown of the local area. If you are in the local area, and I know some of you are, check it out. It's in May next year. It's a long, long time away. There will definitely be lots of ants, including these leaf cutters. So don't worry about that. It's in May, long time away, but it is what it is. needed to give a massive shout out to those sponsors though, because they are, like I say, without them I won't be able to do a Weymouth show as well. On that note, a massive shout out to my sponsors for everything, because Valhalla Martial Arts, they actually sponsor this show as well as my events. They sponsor the Picnic Table Chat show to help us keep it going and improving in the background. Things like these Leafcutters would not happen without sponsorships from Valhalla and Answer Us. So a massive thank you to Answer Us as well. And of course to the Patreons. We've got Katrina, Stacey and Jason. You're all absolutely, it is normally, yes, Patreons are all absolutely spectacular. They say if you're interested in supporting the channel, join the Patreon. It all gets pumped into stuff like this, improving things in the background and improving the quality that we can provide you. But yeah, a massive thank you to anyone that watches and supports at all. I really do appreciate it. If there's anything that anyone wants to say, feel free to say it now, because we are heading towards the end of the stream. And we've got 665 subscribers at this minute on my computer from what it says. So we are super close. If it flicks over, I'll get a screenshot. Yeah, Baz, that'll be absolutely spectacular. Yeah. I had 666. See, that's what happens. It does fluctuate a bit. You tend to, like, I hit 600 the other day, and then within 10 minutes it dropped to 599, and it nearly broke my heart. But I'm not too concerned about things like that. It will go back up to 666, I'm sure. And at that moment, I will jump on a screenshot and sort of celebrate the moment. You have it already. Oh, Sheridan. Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, but I think I'm pretty much done. If there is anything that we have missed, anything that we need to talk about, or anything you want to talk to me about, anything, feel free to send me a message either on email or any of the social media sites that we are on. We're on pretty much everything. Obviously, a massive thank you to everyone for signing in, joining in, sending loads of comments tonight. You've been absolutely spectacular. And without you, these streams would be far more boring. Had it on in the background. See, I said that earlier. Has anyone got ant stuff going on? Like, is anyone doing ant stuff and got this? I assumed you would, Katrina. It's the best way. Like, I was doing ant stuff until not long before I started streaming, watching other people's things. So, you know, it's the dumb thing. So, yeah, feel free to send me a message anytime. I will get back to you as soon as I can. And if I am being ignorant and not messaging you back, just send me another message, because sometimes I look at a message, I'm in the middle of doing something, or the kids distract me, and it gets put down, and I get another 50 messages, and it kind of gets lost. So if I am not messaging back, just send me another message. I don't mean to ignore anyone. If you leave me a comment, I will guarantee to get back to you. So I'm going to love you and leave you. Massive thank you to everyone. Massive shout out to all our sponsors. I think there's something I'm forgetting. Doesn't matter. Whatever. Tom, how many? I've got quite a few millipedes, Katrina. I'll answer that one quickly. I've got 6 species of millipedes, I believe. I'll need to double check. But right, good night, everyone. Shout me if you need me. I shall see you soon. And yeah, as always from me, I'll see you again soon, Ant fans. Good night.